Peyton Manning wasn't just a quarterback, he was an offensive revolution. From the day he stepped on the field, he changed how the position was played, how defenses prepared, and how fans understood the game. He wasn't the strongest arm or the fastest legs, but nobody outsmarted him. 5 MVPs, 2 Lombardi trophies, and a record-breaking career that stretched across 2 franchises tell the story of a man who turned film study into an art form and Sundays into his own stage. So how good was Peyton Manning, really? Stay with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe for more NFL stories, and let's break down the brilliance. The making of a quarterback scientist. Peyton Manning didn't just play quarterback, he changed the game completely. This wasn't a guy relying on a super strong arm or one who just made things up. No, Manning treated football like a science experiment. In Tennessee, teammates joked his social life was a stack of VHS tapes. While they were having fun, he was studying, analyzing how defenders moved as if he were preparing for a final exam. That obsession followed him to the NFL, where Colts players swore Peyton knew their playbook responsibilities better than they did. Imagine a quarterback telling his offensive linemen how to block before the play even started. Yeah, that was Manning.
Check! Flood left! 50's mine! 50's mine!
His style wasn't flashy, but it was incredibly effective. His release looked a little funky, but his feet, perfectly timed, always moving to create a sliver of extra time. Defenders admitted it was maddening. You knew what route was coming, but his timing made it unstoppable. Peyton's approach was like a difficult math problem. You could see it, but you couldn't solve it. And that obsessive mix of brains and precision wasn't just his trademark. It became the foundation for his entire career at Tennessee, and later in the NFL. Tennessee's Golden Boy. By the time Peyton Manning hit the SEC stage, he wasn't just another college quarterback. He was already a star. In Tennessee, he took a program with history and turned it into a powerhouse with expectation.
I think Peyton Manning understood that because he wanted it perfectly.
Peyton was a leader by example.
From 1994 to 1997, he threw for over 11,000 yards and 89 touchdowns, finishing his career as the school's best passer ever. It was the way he ran the offense like a pro long before he was drafted. Coaches gave him freedom to change plays, adjust blocking, and control the speed of the game, responsibilities most college quarterbacks never handle. He also delivered signature wins.
I think when you play as a freshman, boy, your life just changes so fast. And I was always running to school, running to class, running to practice.
The Vols became a consistent top 10 team, and Peyton's calm and high-pressure SEC matchups made him a campus legend. He didn't win the national championship. That came the year after he graduated, but his impact redefined what Tennessee football looked like. By his senior year, he was runner-up for the Heisman Trophy voting. But in the eyes of scouts, he already looked like an NFL quarterback.
He was well ahead of any freshman.
Manning at the 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, touchdown!
And when draft day came, there was no mystery. Manning was the can't-miss prospect, and the Colts weren't about to pass him up. Welcome to the NFL furnace. Peyton Manning's rookie season in 1998 wasn't the storybook start people expected. It was a trial by fire. Drafted first overall by the Indianapolis Colts.
First pick in the draft, the Indianapolis Colts select quarterback, University of Tennessee, Peyton Manning.
He walked straight into a franchise that had won just 3 games the year before. Manning was tasked with turning around a team with shaky protection, an inconsistent run game, and receivers still learning his language. The results? Brutal. He threw 28 interceptions, an NFL rookie record that still stands. Critics wondered if the hype had drowned him. But here's the thing. Manning never backed down. Every mistake became film study fuel. Every bad read became a mental note for later, even in a 3-13 season. He set the rookie record for passing yards, 3,739, and touchdowns, 26. More importantly, his leadership has already been shown. Teammates said he carried himself like a 10-year vet, never pointing fingers, always pointing the way forward. That rookie season wasn't a failure. It was Peyton learning how to survive NFL chaos. And once he figured out how to turn that chaos into control, the league was in serious trouble. Building a powerhouse in Indianapolis. After the rookie bumps, Manning and the Colts wasted no time improving incredibly fast. By his second season, Indianapolis went from 3 wins to 13 wins, a turnaround that put the entire league on notice. Manning finally had weapons that fit his style. Most importantly, the arrival of rookie running back Edgerrin James in 1999. Pairing James' ground dominance with Peyton's aerial precision made the Colts' offense terrifyingly balanced. With Marvin Harrison, who was already a star receiver, defenses simply had no way to stop them. Manning's stats jumped to 4,135 yards and 26 touchdowns in his second year. But more than the stats, it was how he controlled games. He orchestrated drives with audibles at the line, diagnosing defenses like a surgeon and punishing mistakes instantly. For a young quarterback, that kind of mastery was rare. This wasn't just progress, it was the blueprint of a dynasty in the making. Manning was transforming Indy into a perennial contender, with an offense that was about to dominate Sundays for more than a decade. And as the Colts roster grew around him, Manning's partnership with Marvin Harrison would become one of the most unstoppable duos in NFL history. The Harrison connection. If Peyton Manning was the conductor, Marvin Harrison was the violinist who never missed a note. Together, they didn't just make plays, they rewrote the record books. From 1998 through 2008, Manning and Harrison connected for 114 touchdowns, the most ever between a quarterback and receiver. Their chemistry was almost eerie. Defenses knew the slant, comeback or fade was coming, but the timing was so precise that it didn't matter. Harrison's razor-sharp roots paired perfectly with Manning's anticipation, turning routine plays into automatic first downs. Manning threw balls before Harrison even made his break, confident he'd be there. That anticipation created an offense where defenses had to pick their poison, double Harrison and leave someone else open, or get carved apart one-on-one. Their connection wasn't highlight flashy like Moss or T.O. It was surgical dominance, week after week. Harrison's quiet demeanor meshed perfectly with Manning's obsessive intensity. And together, they built consistency no defense could solve. And just when teams thought stopping Harrison was the answer, the Colts added another weapon in Reggie Wayne, taking the offense to an entirely new level. The MVP machine. By the mid-2000s, Peyton Manning wasn't just one of the best quarterbacks. He was stacking MVPs like poker chips. He won his first in 2003, then shared another in 2004 with Steve McNair after throwing a jaw-dropping 49 touchdowns, shattering Dan Marino's single-season record. That year, his passer rating of 121.1 was the highest in league history at the time, a number so efficient it looked like a typo. But Manning didn't stop there. He went on to collect 5 MVP awards in total, the most by any player in NFL history. Think about that. Not Brady, not Rodgers, not Mahomes. Manning stood alone when it came to regular season dominance. Every year, he was redefining efficiency, leading the league in yards, touchdowns, and passer rating across different eras of offensive evolution. The MVPs weren't just trophies. They were proof that his obsessive preparation and surgical style translated to unmatched consistency. Yet, for all the individual accolades, one question lingered over Manning's legacy. Could he deliver the same brilliance when the playoffs rolled around? Finally, breaking through. For years, Peyton Manning carried the label of regular season quarterback. No matter how many records he set, critics pointed to his playoff struggles, one-and-done exits, heartbreaking losses to New England, and defenses that seemed to figure out his timing. But in 2006, Manning finally silenced the noise. That postseason, he engineered comebacks that defined his career, none bigger than the AFC Championship against the Patriots. Down, 21-3, Manning clawed the Colts back with 349 passing yards, leading a 38-34 victory that felt like exercising a decade's worth of demons. 2 weeks later, on the biggest stage, Manning delivered again. Against the Chicago Bears in Super Bowl 41, he threw for 247 yards and a touchdown, earning Super Bowl MVP as the Colts won 29-17. It wasn't his flashiest stat line, but it was controlled, efficient, and exactly what Indy needed. That night in Miami, Manning finally had the hardware to match the hype. And while he'd eventually face more playoff heartbreak, that first ring proved he wasn't just a numbers guy. He was a champion, reinventing the sheriff in Denver. When neck surgeries threatened to end his career in 2011, many thought Peyton Manning was finished. The Colts moved on, drafting Andrew Luck. And suddenly, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever was a free agent. Enter the Denver Broncos, who took the gamble and got rewarded with a rebirth. Manning didn't just return, he evolved. His arm strength wasn't what it used to be, but his brain, timing, and precision were sharper than ever. In 2013, he unleashed one of the most ridiculous seasons in NFL history. 5,477 yards and 55 touchdowns, both single-season records. Denver's offense became a juggernaut, setting an NFL record with 606 points. Manning's command at the line of scrimmage, barking out audibles with his famous Omaha cadence, turned games into chess matches where defenses never stood a chance. Though the Broncos fell short in Super Bowl 48, Manning proved he could dominate in a completely different system, with new receivers and after a career-threatening injury. And as his Denver chapter continued, he showed the league he could win games with his mind even when his body wasn't the same. The second ring and the perfect goodbye. By 2015, Peyton Manning was no longer the stat machine he once was. Age and injuries had taken their toll. His arm looked weaker, his numbers dipped, and he even missed time during the season. But what defined that year wasn't vintage Peyton. It was resilience and leadership. The Denver Broncos rode a ferocious defense, led by Von Miller, but Manning's steady hand still mattered. He protected the football, made clutch throws when needed, and kept the locker room glued together. In Super Bowl 50, the script flipped. Instead of carrying the team, Manning leaned on his defense. He threw for just 141 yards, but his poise and experience kept Denver calm in the storm against Carolina. The Broncos won 24-10, and Peyton walked off with his second Lombardi trophy. No gaudy stats, no MVP numbers, just the perfect curtain call. He retired as the NFL's all-time leader in passing yards, 71,940, and touchdowns, 539 at the time. But Manning's greatness wasn't defined by numbers alone. His legacy carried over into how he transformed the very role of quarterback, redefining the quarterback position. Before Peyton Manning, the quarterback was often seen as a play executor. Take the call from the sideline, run the play, and hope it works. Manning blew that model up. He essentially became the offensive coordinator on the field, lining up under center. He'd read defenses in real time, shift protections, change routes, and dictate tempo with his famous no-huddle attack. Defenses couldn't substitute, couldn't disguise, and couldn't breathe. It wasn't just about throwing the ball. It was about controlling the entire game. His approach turned the line of scrimmage into his personal chessboard, safeties creeping down. He checked into a deep shot, blitz coming. He flipped the protection and hit the hot route. Every audible was a counterpunch, and over time, defenses admitted it felt like playing against a coach in pads. That innovation didn't just win games. It changed how the position is coached today. Quarterbacks like Brady, Rodgers, and Mahomes all operate with Manning's template of pre-snap mastery. And beyond the X's and O's, Peyton's influence stretched even further, into the culture, leadership, and very personality of the NFL itself. The lasting legacy. When you stack up Peyton Manning's career, the numbers are incredible. 5 MVPs, 2 Super Bowls, 14 Pro Bowls, and over 70,000 passing yards. But what truly makes his legacy untouchable is how he bridged eras. He dominated in the late 90s against old-school defenses. kept rewriting records in the 2000s, then reinvented himself in Denver to stay elite into the mid-2000s. Few players ever shaped the league's evolution the way he did. Off the field, Manning became just as influential. His humor and sharp wit in commercials, and later on Monday Night Football with the Mannings, made him a cultural icon. He wasn't just a quarterback. He was the face of football for nearly 2 decades. Ask defenders, coaches, or teammates, and they'll all tell you the same thing. Playing against Peyton meant preparing for a mental battle you almost always lost. His blend of preparation, leadership, and relentless competitiveness set a gold standard. And while debates about the greatest quarterback ever will never end, Peyton Manning's impact guarantees he'll always be in that conversation. By the time Peyton Manning walked away, he wasn't just a stat sheet legend. He was the gold standard for preparation, leadership, and control at the line of scrimmage. He rewrote record books, carried franchises, and left defenses gasping for answers year after year. His journey had everything: adversity, reinvention, championships, and an unforgettable goodbye on top. Few quarterbacks shaped the NFL's identity as much as the Sheriff, and his legacy still echoes in every pre-snap, audible today. So, where does Peyton Manning stand on your list of the greatest quarterbacks? Is he in your top 3? Tell us what you think in the comments, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more football analysis.